All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to round 5 of the Monticello Motor Club Esports Sim Challenge, race number 5, coming to you from Road America. We are about 2 minutes to go in qualifying, and we have seen a lot of action here. Lots of drivers have been practicing, putting in the work on this track, and it's paying off here with some quick times. We have lots of activity at the top of the board. Drivers you know, like Zach Ehrlich and Lynn Wilson, looking quick, but also Sean McAuliffe and Paul Bartholomew is coming out, and Nick Monos looking quick as well right now in P5 in qualifying with only a minute and a half to go. Jason Cohen also looking really fast up there in P6. So we have a lot of names, a lot of activity. We have a historic track, 14 turn, 4 mile Road America out of Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. And we're looking forward to a great race here in just a few minutes. Thanks for tuning in tonight. We've got a little qualifying action here. You can see some of these guys trying to get a toe on some of these long straights. This is a track where aero really helps, toe really helps, and also being really fast and consistent can really net you some good results. With 1 minute to go, we'll see how this qualifying session ends up. Zach Ehrlich, a name you've heard before, our points leader, out front and top of the board right now with Sean McAuliffe, and Paul Bartholomew is right behind him.
For sure. And I mean, I gotta say, it's going to be really interesting during today's race because this race was kind of, it was supposed to be at a different track. If you guys have been
Yeah,
paying attention closely, today's race was really supposed to be at New Jersey Motorsport Park, but we had a conversation with some of the members and some of the instructors, and we made the executive decision to actually change it to Road America. So a lot of these drivers have actually been practicing at a different track and on quite short notice had to switch up the practice and change tracks.
sure. And we're in GT4s now, right? So we were last in the Miata, so it's a much more powerful platform, a lot more opportunity for I don't know, excitement from these cars. So I'm looking forward to. They haven't had a lot of time to practice. They haven't had a lot of time to work this track, and they haven't had a lot of time to work these cars. Should be an exciting evening of racing.
Absolutely. And it looks like qualifying has just ended. So all the drivers are gridding up for the race. And we can take a look at the results of qualifying. Doesn't look like every driver was able to get a qualifying time in. I mean, it being such a long track, it's pretty easy to drop a tire or two and have your qualifying time deleted. So it looks like some drivers were able to piece together a lap and some weren't. But, it being such a large track, it's not the end of the world if you aren't able to piece together a lap because there's a lot of time to make up for that.
Right. So looking at these results in row 6, you've got Brian Hedian and Dylan Murcott back there in the instructor class. You've got Josh Green and Sherman, Joe Schofield right in front of him. And then up into the member class, you've got Jason Cohen running beside Peter Bank, who's also one of our instructors. Just ahead of them in 5th and 6th place, you have Nicholas Ponzini and Nick Monos qualifying 6th. Qualifying 4th is Lynn Wilson. In 3rd, we have Paul Bartholomews. In 2nd place, outside front row, you have Sean McAuliffe. And on the pole, your points leader and current championship leader, Zach Ehrlich, on the pole for race 5 at Road America.
Yeah, this will be really exciting to see. Last night, I had the pleasure to drive with some of these drivers during the practice. And boy, let me put it this way, Zach Ehrlich has pace. But also, Lynn Wilson as well had some incredible pace. Could not touch these drivers' times yesterday. So super excited to see what kind of tricks these drivers have up their sleeves. I was trying to watch their laps, find the points in the lap where they knew a thing or two that I didn't. And I gotta put it this way, I think that it'll be interesting to see how well these drivers do because they definitely know a few tricks and tactics.
It's also funny too. Not only do we have a couple of drivers up at the front that are really quick with Ehrlich and also Lynn Wilson, you've also got different cars, right? I mean, you've got Ehrlich selecting the Mercedes AMG. You've got a lot of Club Sport GT4s out of Stuttgart. There's a little bit of a variant product out of Munich here. It's going to be interesting with the different makes and models in the field to see how these different cars and platforms perform in this GT4 race.
Absolutely. And it's actually quite interesting. I think that over the course of the season, the distribution of cars has certainly changed. I think towards the beginning of the season, we saw a ton of Porsche GT4s. And as we can see in the background, that's slowly started to change. Drivers are opting to choose different cars that may suit different tracks better. And it's actually quite interesting to see how these drivers switch up their strategy over the course of the season.
So I think it won't be long here before we go green. Lights are out on the pace car. Ehrlich really putting pressure on that pace car. He is ready to set the field ablaze. I think he's ready to try and set sail and get away from this pack. The thing about this track, it's 4 miles long. It's 14 turns. It is a really long, really fast track. One of the longest, fastest straightaways in North American road racing. And I think this track is going to reward really good, clean, consistent laps. This is going to be a long race with a lot of just trying to drive it as clean and quickly as possible. Ehrlich all over the pace car right now.
Truly.
I'm telling you, that big AMG is looking ready to rumble.
Absolutely. And one thing about this track, which I gotta say is quite interesting, that I learned during practice yesterday, is that it's very, very aggressive on the left side tire, and just more specifically the front left. And that's something that can easily catch a driver out over the course of the entire race, as you're constantly putting a lot of load on that front left. There's that long downhill right carousel coming here into Canada corner, super hard braking zone into the left-hander. It's just super aggressive. And the tire almost wears unevenly to the point where you can turn into a right-hander and the car feels hooked up, and you'll turn into a left-hander and the car feels completely disconnected. So it'll be interesting to see how these drivers deal with that weird, just the weird degradation of the tire, and are able to hopefully stay consistent. We might see some crashes during the middle of the race that just come out of nowhere.
I'm just watching these drivers. The level of competitiveness in this pace lap is pretty impressive. You got McAuliffe and Ehrlich on the front row. The pace car is in. We are about to go green for race number 1 in the 5th series, the 5th race of the season. Let's go racing, Monticello. As Ehrlich comes to the start-finish line, we're waiting for the green flag. And there's the green. We are underway with race number 5. Ehrlich tucks in and gets a good start.
That is a big crash in the back.
Oh, huge crash back there. 3 cars in the grass.
Oh my
3 cars immediately out of the race. We'll have to wait for a replay on that.
It seems as though that was Lynn Wilson, Peter Bank, and Jason Ray were all collected in that incident. Not sure what caused it, but I got to say, while that was happening in the background, Zach Ehrlich just fired off. Very clean start for him.
Yeah, he's looking good. He is the championship leader for a reason. Sean McAuliffe tucked in for that toe, though, down this big straightaway here as we head towards the back half of the track.
Ooh, looking towards
McAuliffe
the inside.
all over his chimney right now.
Well, and look at the gap that they've...
on the field.
4 wide going into... Oh, there is a lot going on. I knew that was going to be a pretty crazy... Oh, there's some cars backwards in the background.
Big contact back there.
Is that...
Yeah,
there
4 wide.
Wow. I have the list of all the cars that crashed, but I think there's too many cars to list, actually.
Yeah, we'll have to see how that shakes out. We'll be looking for a replay here in a minute. I think that was not good news for Brian Edian, Trent Walco, Vince Sperano. I think all of those guys are in a little bit of trouble back there.
A lot of trouble. But, I mean, if we look a little further back down the pack, it looks like Josh Green is one of the winners of that start. I mean, going up
no
6
doubt.
places. Josh Green, no stranger to the GT4, absolutely flying up to his spot now, P3.
Yeah, Josh Green having secured a full season ride in a Mercedes AMG GT car this year. He was racing at Sebring last weekend in real life. He is ready to show his stuff here in GTs on this Esports Challenge for Monticello Motor Club.
Brilliant stuff. Looks like the pack has started to sort of find its paces. It looks like everyone's kind of getting into the groove of things. Let's take a look further back. Trenton Walco, looks like lots of damage on the front end of that Mercedes, probably involved in that incident early on. Ooh, lots of damage. Not really able to have... Oh, is that the front right? I think it's completely broken off.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not great. Car didn't want to turn in at all.
Not in the slightest. And it looks like a lot of
He's in
these
a
cars back
little
here
bit of trouble.
are struggling, to put
Yeah.
it simply.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can take a look.
Ehrlich is going back through the field. What is happening with Josh? What is happening with Zach Ehrlich?
Oh, Zach
He is
Ehrlich.
gone from the front.
Oh, I think that
Oh,
was just a
sorry.
little glitch in the system.
Had
Zach
a
Ehrlich,
scoring error there.
yeah, scoring error there. Zach Ehrlich still comfortably in the lead, I would say. Already pulled a second,
Yeah.
actually. Wow. Yeah. Well,
Yeah, and is sitting on the purple lap too. I mean, he's sitting 2:21 for his out lap was the best. I mean, he's set the fastest pace out there, using every bit of the track limit here.
yeah. Let's take a look
Zach
back
Ehrlich.
at the start of the race. I think we have it right here. Yeah. So let's just actually stop it right here and get the blimp view. I think the blimp view and maybe head mid pack, probably around. Actually, let's go back to here with the front of the pack. And let's take a look a little further down the pack. It looks like maybe by Josh Green. Or what are we thinking in terms of where that contact was? I think it was probably back here with Josh Green. Oh, here, right here.
Right
And look
there.
at the front. We can take a look at
Gets
the white
pinched,
car
yeah.
getting pinched.
That's I believe.
Oh,
Oh
80,
no, I
83.
believe that is Nick
That's
Monos.
Lynn
Nick
Wilson.
Monos came over.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and Lynn caught Lynn Wilson, and it looks like also Peter Bank involved in that, and it just
yeah.
spiraled downhill in the
And
background
three
there.
cars.
Just
Yeah,
nothing you can do there, unfortunately. And then,
yeah. It's just the nature of three wide on that start.
unfortunately, yeah. And then going into turn 4, definitely a lot of accidents here. So, as you could see, I mean, there was a span of cars, an immense span of
Sure.
cars. And if we take a look from above, we can see
This is the four wide.
4 wide down the
Nick Monos up there
inside.
getting racy again.
Yeah, and
A
it
little
looks
bit too late on the brakes. You can see how straight he is. He's got a big
ooh,
push off the track there.
and a
The
little
McLaren goes around due to the
contact.
bump.
Yeah, that's Brian Hidian getting bumped from behind, and it just looks like him being stuck in the middle of that
Yeah.
track. Everyone just couldn't do anything about it, unfortunately.
And that's where the damage to Trent Walco came from. He
It
got
must be.
nose to nose with Edie in there.
Yeah. And let's see. Yep, Zach Ehrlich still up ahead. And it looks like, yeah, all of those drivers that we mentioned before, looks like some of them are in pit lane and some of them are a little further behind. All drivers have a quick repair, so they can go into pits. Their car gets repaired to 100% in the snap of a finger, and they're back on track. But, you know, hitting
Right.
the pits is still hitting the pits. It takes a little bit.
Yeah, it's not going to help you, right? It's not a great place to be.
Yeah.
So Peter Bank, Jason Cohen, Trenton Walco, Lynn Wilson, all of those guys going for damage repair.
Taking a look a little further down the field, it looks like all the drivers that weren't involved in the incident are doing quite well for themselves. It looks like Joseph Schofield on the back of Nicholas Ponzini. Let's see, maybe can we get some action going?
Yeah, yeah. Schofield showing him the nose of that big McLaren under braking there.
Yeah, and that's
Ponzini trying to stay out in that F82.
yeah, that's one of those corners you want to have a really good exit out of that left-hander and want to keep it really contained and composed around this long right downhill as you come into the fast section of the track because right here is where you can build that draft and tuck in behind the car and possibly make a move into that right-hander, which we might see. Oh, a little deep for Schofield.
Yes, threw a braking marker there. Oh man, that is not his best moment.
Yeah.
A little understeer there, touch wide.
I mean, I gotta say the McLaren is an understeery car. I think the car has a 225 tire, tiny tire up front, so you definitely have to be very careful through all of any fast corner because the car will understeer and get away from you.
Yeah, a 225, right? I mean, I think I had a 225 on my 1984 Fox body. So that is a pretty small tire for the front of a car that has that much horsepower.
Absolutely. And it's quite interesting. You know, the BMW and the McLaren are very different in terms of their driving dynamic. So there's going to be parts of the lap where Ponzini has the advantage. You know, his car definitely has better turn-in. than the McLaren. But that McLaren has some absurd straight line speed, and it looks like a possible issue from Ponzini going through turn 1, and will Schofield be able to capitalize on that?
And right there, lurking right at the back of those guys, that's Dylan Murcott. Mr. Sharp Elbows trying to get up and get in the mix in that big Merc.
Mm-hmm. Looks
Schofield showing the horsepower. That McLaren's just a world of torque. Drag racing down here into the backstretch.
It truly is. And Schofield has the inside, but it looks like he's giving the position. Broke a little early there. Was expecting him to break a little deeper, but Schofield able to capitalize on that and take the place.
Yep, and Murcott trying to find Schofield still so wide to the corners, using every bit of the track.
Yeah, I mean, Ponzini must have a, oh wow, into the grass, then back to the right, into the grass again.
What
I think
is
that
Murcott doing?
I'm surprised Murcott got that stopped, because he had 2 tires in the grass. I mean, usually cars don't stop in the grass.
Yeah, Murcott going for it. Real smooth inputs here on this downhill right-hander. As you stated before, this is an important corner to get a run into this next straightaway, and it really requires smooth inputs. Murcott wanting to get around Ponzini.
Oh, into the
Ponzini
grass.
Ponzini goes wide, almost to the wall.
And it looks like
and
Murcott,
that clears the way for Murcott to get through.
Able to capitalize
That's one way
on
to
that.
leave the door open.
Absolutely. And that, honestly, every single time that I took that fast right-hander, it's a guess. It's a guess of where you turn in. If you take too much of the curb, it's going to disrupt the car too much, and you'll have no grip, and you'll fly out wide. And you don't want to brake too much, or else you're not going to have that good run going into the right-hander. It's a difficult corner to judge. But yeah, looks like Schofield and Dylan. Is that Dylan? Able to capitalize on that. No, that's Peter Bank. I was going to say, I don't think that's Dylan's car. I think that's Peter Bank, who's actually a lap down, but still racing as if he's on the lead lap.
Yeah, you're exactly right. He is not on the lead lap, but he is dicing it up like he is, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Kind of a Peter Bank trademark.
Yeah, I mean, look, Pete is a quick driver on this track. He knows this track quite well, and yesterday when we were driving, he was driving laps around me. Not even going to lie. Pete, I'll give you that much. Yeah. He's quick. I mean,
he's excellent in sim.
Look at that.
He's excellent in sim.
Flashing
pressure on Schofield now.
Truly putting on that pressure on Schofield. He's quite the way back, I'm not going to lie, but still putting the pressure on Schofield there.
That's how you do it, man.
Truly.
Ponzini just hanging back, watching Schofield
down the inside. Oh,
leads the door
into the back.
Open,
it spins.
And there it is. Peter Bank noses him around.
Peter
Bank is like, yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah, I think Peter's slowing down for Schofield, apologizing maybe for the actions. I know that all the instructors are in the same chat right now, so maybe having a little bit of a conversation there about as to what just happened. I mean, I know you guys.
Schofield pushed it wide, and Peter Bank took advantage of it. I don't think Schofield was aware that Bank got inside of him as quickly as he did, and when he tried to close the door, that was Bank already had his nose in there.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like Peter kind of got back on the throttle there. He was definitely a little aggressive. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, even as they were, they were head to toe. I'm not sure if I would have got on throttle when Peter did, but we'll give Peter benefit of the doubt there.
Well, we are through the halfway point. We've got about 9 minutes to go in this race. Zach Ehrlich still up front and still sitting on that purple lap, fastest driver out there on the track. He's got about, what is that? He's got
5 seconds.
4 seconds on second place, almost 5 seconds on Sean McAuliffe.
That is
And Josh Green leading the instructor class there in 3rd place, P3.
Yeah, I think this might be the battle to watch. I mean, Josh has been slowly reeling him in every single lap. If we look at the lap times right now, Josh is almost a second faster on that last lap. So it'll be interesting to see I think Josh is going to reel in Sean, and we'll see if he can make the move.
Hey, Josh looks good out there, and he's running that Zimperium livery on that Mercedes, just like he runs in real life. Having seen that car at Sebring last weekend, I think Josh is really starting to feel at home in that dark British racing green.
Yeah, Josh, we were talking with Josh right before the session, asking him, hey, GT4 in the game, how does it compare to the Thay's GT4 in real life? And he was saying that it's pretty similar. It's quite similar, in fact. And he's saying that a lot of the techniques and skills that he learned from driving on the sim in iRacing have translated directly into the car. And I mean, that shows, I mean, his pace at Sebring was quite good, I must say.
Yeah, it really was. And I tell you, it just shows you the state of the sim game these days. There's so much to be learned from running these sim. If you have a proper setup, a proper rig, and you really put the time in, sim racing can absolutely make you better in real life.
Absolutely. No, I mean, you could see it with these drivers. I mean, almost all of our instructors, I think actually all of our instructors, all have sims and they practice on the off season nonstop. I feel like any night that I would want to go driving on the sim, I text one of the instructors. I'm like, hey, are you going to drive tonight? They're like, well, I'm already on, man. Hop on. So it's really
Yeah.
great to see how often our instructors are on the sim, perfecting their craft, and really just practicing constantly. It's phenomenal to see.
Yeah, I tell you, Sean McAuliffe has got a mirror of mirrors full of that Mercedes right now. And Josh, you can see how smooth his inputs are, how excellent his line is. He is just driving the quickest way around this track. And I think it's going to be P2 for that Josh Green machine in just another lap or two.
Absolutely. I would not want to be Sean McAuliffe right now because there is just a rear view mirror full of Mercedes GT4 for him. And coming into turn one, straight in the draft, will Josh open it up and look towards the inside? Maybe.
Longest straightaway in America right there. And he gets his nose inside. McAuliffe puts his elbows out, but it is not enough. The Merc is through. Heading into turn three, Josh Green moves into P2.
Absolute brilliant move. I was kind of questioning. I thought it was a little far back. Was he going to make the corner? But I mean, why question Josh Green? He made the move quick, simple, and easy going. And Sean McAuliffe, I mean, I don't blame him for trying to turn in, maybe looking towards the inside here, going into turn 5. Yeah, I mean, there's just not much you can do when you're on the outside.
Hopes and wishes. I know, hopes and wishes. I like what Sean's thinking, but he does not have, I don't think he has the pace or position to get that pass done here.
Yeah, the Mercedes here is a really well-rounded car, I gotta say. As we can see with Zach Ehrlich 6 seconds up the road, the Mercedes may be the car of choice around this track. And I mean, it was hard to figure that out as we only had 2 or 3 days to practice. But I mean, Sean McAuliffe is still keeping up relatively close to Josh Green. I'm not going to discount him yet.
Yeah, he's definitely running great. I mean, to be a non-instructor, Sean McAuliffe's our GT4 champion, GT4 club champion last year, running that same Club Sport GT4 that he's in right now in the sim. So this guy's no stranger to real life winning as well as sim winning. Sean McAuliffe, very talented driver in the sim as well as in real life, and it's no doubt that he's going to give Josh all he can handle.
Absolutely. And we'll see coming through these corners. I mean, the last sector of the track is definitely a really important sector to get right and to link up well, especially that last corner right before the long straightaway. If you don't line it up well, you're not going to have a good run going into turn 1. Looks like Josh may have set that out just perfectly. As you can see, he's itching up to a second, and as soon as Josh hits second, that draft kind of becomes less prevalent. Ooh, it looks like Sean McAuliffe just caught the draft. So still within a second of Josh here.
Let's take a look back. Let's take a look back at Brian Hedian and Dylan Murcott. Back another couple instructors. Hedian back in the match after having that spin earlier and contact with Trent Walco. You can see these two cars here getting after it. Brian Hedian is giving it all he's got to try to get around Dylan Murcott before we run out of time. There's about 3.5 minutes left in this race, only about 2 laps left. This is going to be a battle to the checker right here.
Absolutely.
As Hedian tries to reel Murcott in. He's closed a half a second on him in the past half lap, so I believe we're going to have door-to-door racing here with Hedian and Murcott very soon.
I would completely agree with that. And I got,
Hedian looking inside, trying to get the nose in. Excellent, excellent corner, though, by Murcott with real good pace. Closes the door right on him.
Yeah.
Let's see what Hedian's got with about a lap and a half to go.
one thing I gotta say is that these instructors are very competitive. When it comes to the instructor championship, it is a constant conversation in the instructors chat. Every single day, instructors are talking about how they're gonna make the move, how they're gonna dive towards the inside, that they're gonna win the instructors championship. And I know that Brian and Dylan are both very competitive people, and I know that they want to see themselves at the top spot of the constructors championship, or the instructors championship, almost constructors championship.
Right. And some other talented guys. I mean, Josh Green is really doing good in the instructor ranks right now as well, up in second place running P2. Trent Walco having that contact early. He's back in P12. Not his best race there. A little bit too aggressive there for Hedian, and that cost him. He's now over a second back. Murcott really putting on some nice clean laps. I believe Hedian has overdrove his tires just a bit. He might be running out of rubber here with only 2 minutes to go in the race.
Yeah, it looks like it. As we said before, the tires on this car are narrow, so when you run out of grip, there's essentially nothing. You're running an ice skating rink. So I mean, we'll see right here. Yeah, look at that, all four off. I mean, it's just such a difficult car to keep on track, especially once it's kind of started to go. It kind of falls off really quick, even though it has some incredible straight line speed, as we saw.
These similarly matched McLarens here, these GT4s, excellent cars, excellent power. Not so much forward bite, though. Really takes a lot of finesse to get these cars around the track well.
No, entirely agree. And it looks like Sean McAuliffe is it's still keeping close with Josh Green.
He is still working Josh Green's bumper. Only 7/10 back, but we've got about 1 lap to go.
Absolutely. And I mean, talking about the tire degradation, with the Porsche GT4 having the engine in the back, it's a little less abrasive on the fronts and able to retain a little more life in those fronts than most of the other cars. And you know, with Josh's car being the Mercedes, having the big old V8 up front, Josh may be running into some issues with tire deg.
Yeah, and kudos to Sean McAuliffe, man, for keeping up with one of Monticello's best. I mean, everybody knows that Monticello has the best driving instructors in America, and these guys are really quick in the sim as well as on track. And for a member like Sean McAuliffe to really bother a guy like Josh Green, who's raced one of these Mercs in real life in the past 7 days, it's a huge feather in the cap of Sean McAuliffe. He's really putting on a great show for the membership.
Absolutely. Brian Hedian looks like he's caught back up to Dylan Murcott. Hopefully he can make a move there. Possibly some mistakes from Dylan. Wow, Brian is pushing it. He wants to make sure that he gets in front.
He absolutely is. I'll tell you though, Murcott is a tough out. Getting to Murcott and passing Murcott are two entirely different things.
Yeah, I mean, this is the white flag lap, so give it all you got. I think Zach Ehrlich, does Zach Ehrlich cross the line? Oh, look at Zach Ehrlich, just having a time.
Yeah.
Just having fun at this point. Just messing about. And further down the road, Josh Green and Sean McAuliffe in third. Great race from the two of them. Josh opting for the same strategy there as well. Nick Ponzini coming around the final corner as well, putting in a great show for P4. Close behind.
Bavaria's best, the F82 M4. I love to see that F82 out there doing well.
Absolutely.
Congrats to Ponzini. Sherman across the line. The second instructor across the line, Joe Schofield. Bartholomew's comes across the line in 6th. There's Dylan Murcott's going to hang on.
Did Brian Hedian spin?
I guess Hedian must have given it a little too much of all it had.
Yeah, because Brian Hedian
went way back.
Yeah, I think, it looks like on the screen here, Brian did have a crash, so maybe he was pushing it a little too hard. You know, after all the drivers crossed the line, we'll take a look at maybe what happened to Brian there. And looks as though just a few more drivers come up the hill. Who's that with a lot of Vincent Sperano, I think, with the damage on the front.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think that almost about wraps it up. It being such a large track, it takes a little while for all the cars to come across the start finish. So You
I
know,
mean, Zach Ehrlich's already got a bottle of champagne open in the pits before Chris Peterson gets to the line.
he must be Trent having some fun. It looks like a lot of the drivers having fun across the line. You know, nothing crazy. Let's take a look at Brian Hideon's crash there at the end. I'm interested to see. Oh, look at them. They were side by side.
Yep.
Wow.
And as I told you, getting around Murcott much more difficult than getting to Murcott.
Absolutely.
You see, Murcott takes this wide line, kind of gives that the look of the open door, but then closes it right down. I mean, Murcott's got the corner.
Oh.
Hedian runs out of real estate,
Yeah.
and Murcott, with his sharp elbows, puts him right around.
Yeah, that is just not the corner to do it. I'm gonna be honest. If I was Brian, I would have just maybe waited a little longer, try to show my nose just to
Oh,
say,
come
"Hey,
on,
I'm here." But
Demetro.
I don't know. Hey,
It's the white flag, dude. If you were Brian, you would have stuck it in there as well and just hope
uh,
for racing room.
I guess so. You know, I'm
It's
just an announcer, so
You're not going to back out of that on that lap at that corner at that time of the race.
you know, the one thing for
Um,
me is I think that when it comes down to it, it's I think that you would wait for the last corner. Now, this is me, ladies and gentlemen. This is just how I would approach it. But I'd wait for, try to show him and then just try to mess up his line going to the last corner. So it's a drag race to the line, side by side, and just try to just nose it ever so slightly across the line, which is a very doable thing here at Road America. We've seen so many large racing series have that happen on the final
for
lap.
sure. For sure, man. This track's been around a long time. A lot of guys have raced it. First professional race here was 1955.
Oh, wow.
Won by Phil Hill. This is a very old, very historic track. And just like Phil Hill, Zach Ehrlich taking the checker today with Josh Green on P2, Sean McAuliffe P3, followed up by Nicholas Ponzini, Joe Schofield, Paul Bartholomew in 6th, Dylan Murcott in 7th, George Polos and Brian Hedian, Vinny Sperano rounding out the top 10. Excellent race. Tough luck for some of the guys early on, like Peter Bank, but it was a pretty great race. More exciting and interesting than I expected from a course this long and this fast. I expected this field to get really strung out, but it was actually a pretty good race, and I'm ready for round 2.
Yeah, absolutely. That was definitely a really fun race to watch and lots of good action over the course of it. Obviously, that first lap was something. To put it simply, there was a lot of action. Oh my!
It was something, all right. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, and I'm not sure how long this warm up session is before our second heat, but I think we're going to cut to a little quick commercial break. Everyone, refill up your water bottles, refill up your popcorn, because there's one more heat to go.
All right, folks. Thanks for tuning in. We're about to get underway for heat number 2 in our race weekend number 5 at Road America, coming to you live from Elkhart Lake. 20 cars in the field. We had a great race early on with Zach Ehrlich on the top step, and we're about to get started with race number 2. Stand by. We hope you've got a full glass of beverage there. Pace car about to roll off. Zach Ehrlich on the pole again. Can he win wire to wire 2 races in a row? I think Josh Green, Sean McAuliffe, and Nick Ponzini are going to have something to say about it. Pace car's rolling off, and we're doing our formation lap as we get ready to start heat number 2.
Absolutely. I mean, that first race was domination from Zach Ehrlich. Zach Ehrlich took the lead straight off the bat. I mean, even straight off the green, was clear on the outside and the inside. Basically had the entire track to himself and was gone, in all fairness.
Yeah. Zach Ehrlich having come up through the ranks at Monticello, doing the teen camps, coaching the teen camps, doing race schools. You can really see the poise over a long race. This 20-minute race, he's just putting in all the turns, putting in the work, and really just putting on a display of race school graduate work. If you're interested in a race school, if you're interested in being quick like Zach Ehrlich, contact your sales executive and get involved at Monticello Motor Club. Get into a race school. Put your kid in a teen camp. There's so many different things you can do in 2024, including our off-site excursions. We're going to VIR this year. We're going to the Nürburgring this year. You want to do 3 days of segment training and full track lapping at the Nürburgring in the Eifel Mountains? We have 2 seats left for this late June excursion off-site. Contact your sales executive to find out how you can get more involved at Monticello today.
Man, I wish I could be doing that. I mean, whew, the opportunity to go to the Nürburgring is big. That is, I think.
Who doesn't want to drive the Nürburgring in June,
sure.
right? It'll be 72 degrees, blue sky, and ice cold German beer at night. What else do you need?
Too good. I mean, I could only dream of just that experience. And I also got to say, I mean, the Nürburgring is, I think, one of the coolest tracks in the world. It is a true test of any race car driver, racing enthusiast as a whole. I mean, it's just such a phenomenal track. And I also heard that right before you turn onto the Nordschleife of the track, there is a really great place for pancakes. Just so you know, just in case anyone wanted to know. Really good pancake spot.
Yeah.
You heard it here first.
The Devil's Diner, man. I'm telling you, we have lunch at the Devil's Diner every day. We eat dinner at Sabine Schmidt's family's restaurant called the Piston Klaus, right there inside the track. We do all of the cool Nürburgring stuff, including all 77 turns and 13.1 miles of the Nordschleife, segment training and full track lapping. And you can go. I will chaperone the entire trip. And if you want to go to VIR, we're going to VIR. We have 10 seats left for VIR this year. So many different ways, different things you can do at Monticello. Our racing calendar is on the app now. Our full member calendar is on the app now. So many different ways to get involved. So many cool events. The Hypercar Showcase. Monticello is the world's #1 automotive country club, and we can't wait to have all the members out. Opening day is April 11th, and the member meeting, which it's really important for all members to come out to, the member meeting is on April 18th. That's a Thursday night before a Quealy race, so you can come out and drive, hang around all day, enjoy the evening at the member meeting, and stay for the Quealy Classic on Friday morning. So many cool things getting ready to happen at Monticello. But right now, we're ready for heat number 2 as these cars are stacking up behind the pace car, stacking up behind your championship leader, Zach Ehrlich, as we get ready to take the green in race number 2.
Absolutely. It'll be interesting to see, will Zach Ehrlich kind of go for that early jump once again, or will he hold back the pack behind him, maybe switch up the tactic, keep
Looks
everyone
like
on
he's
their
stacking
toes?
them up right now. You can see McAuliffe ready to go, Ponzini ready to go, pace car is in, and we are
we're green right there.
green flag racing, and they attack Ehrlich early. These guys do not want to let him get away. Ponzini gets around him on the front and cars, the instructors coming flooding out of the pit lane. We've got a race now, kids. Ehrlich is in traffic for the first time tonight. Let's see how the championship leader responds. He's right behind Joe Schofield as they head up the hill. He's in P4 right now.
Interesting. Well, I wasn't expecting the instructors to come out in front of the members. Usually they come out behind the members, but it seemed as though maybe, I'm not sure what happened there. They came out in front.
I'm not sure either, but it made for an exciting start. I'll tell you, they flooded from pit lane. Ehrlich anxious to get around him, and Josh Green in full shoulders and elbows out mode. They go 3 wide down there.
Oh my God,
there
is action on action.
Field. Oh. That is the corner where it happens.
Like
Ponzini gets collected, and
oh no,
wouldn't you know it, Zach Ehrlich, the only car clear through at the front.
I mean, turn 5 seems like it is not the best corner for a lot of these drivers tonight, and maybe a corner to forget. I mean, it's textbook from Zach Ehrlich, you know, not being too aggressive, not trying to look anywhere too crazy, and it looks like it's paid off because look at him, P1.
Yeah, with Sean McAuliffe right behind him, and then Dylan Murcott. I don't think I've updated yet, but I think Josh Green went off in turn 5.
Yeah, Josh Green just kind of drove it off straight. Was kind of surprised by that. Wasn't expecting that from Josh in that respect, but definitely a lot of contact. Let's put it that way. There was definitely a lot of bumper-to-bumper action.
To say the least. If we could get a look at that leaderboard, you can see Ehrlich's out front, and you've got Sean McAuliffe there running in P2. Lynn Wilson in that McLaren back there looking pretty good. And Polos out of nowhere up to P4. Big beneficiary of that action in turn 5. McClanahan out, Trinken looking good. And Ponzini, having gotten turned around, is back underway and just trying to dice it up with Jason Cohen right now.
Yeah. I mean, as the timing sheet's going to update correctly as all the drivers come across start, finish, we'll be able to really get a telltale sign as to how these drivers are doing. It's not fully updated yet, but we'll take a look at that on the next lap. But obviously Zach Ehrlich able to really take the win out of that all that craziness in lap 1. Now, taking a look at the leaderboard, just want to double check, make sure there's no action going on further down the pack. Nick Ponzini, unfortunately, must have gotten caught up in something, because coming from 2nd place all the way down to 6th, super unlucky.
Well, he got turned around. He got turned around in that turn 5 fracas. But he didn't take any damage, I don't think. I think he just got spun, and I believe his pace is still there.
Okay, let's take a look at that commotion that happened on lap 1. Going to take a look from the blimp from above. And, I mean, coming into turn 1,
all 3 of these instructors.
Yeah,
that's Josh Green up front.
Gets on the brakes.
And there's Joe Schofield right behind him. You can see Ehrlich back there just lurking, but Josh Green gets over on that paint, which is not that big a deal at this point in the race, but for some reason,
just drives it straight off.
I don't know. He just drove it straight off. Now Schofield turning in.
Schofield looks like he was fine, but possibly if we I think it was right there.
Sean McAuliffe just turns Ponzini right there.
Yeah, that was just...
I think Ponzini got on the brakes to try to avoid contact, and Sean McAuliffe collected him before he knew what had happened.
Super unlucky. And then taking a look a little further back, oh, that's Austin Cranes really far back. Let's just back up the clip a little bit more. Take a look from right here. Austin Cranes on the inside. I think he just misses the break point. I think he was just flying down the inside.
Yeah, that's full video game rules right there.
Yeah, and it looks like he collected the 14. Oh, my goodness. That was a lot of contact right there. Yeah, that was a big crash.
Yeah, that certainly hurt Josh Green's. I mean, I don't know what happened to Josh Green. I don't know why he went. He just missed the braking zone. Really uncharacteristic of Josh Green there.
Yeah, maybe just, you know, trying to stay out of harm's way, went a little wide, and was maybe just looking at his mirrors a little too much. Completely forgot to hit the brake pedal, which happens. You know, it definitely happens, but that was super unlucky for Josh, especially being caught up in the incident after.
Trent Walco up to 6th right now. So you got Schofield, Murcott, and Walco 1, 2, 3 for the instructors right now. That's interesting. A good comeback for Trent Walco after a disappointing race 1. Trent is a very talented racer in real life as well as on the sim, and I would expect good results out of Walco.
Absolutely, and here we have instructor Dylan Murcott looking towards the inside, looking to secure his spot on the top of the Instructors Championship. I know he's been running those numbers straight after the race ends. Oh, an aggressive move, but a move that worked nevertheless. Will Joseph Schofield be able to possibly have a response to that move?
I would be shocked if he did, to be honest with you. Murcott, very good in these sims. Very good. I mean, he is the top rated instructor in the sim right now. So Murcott, very aggressive. Also, relatively clean driver, but he just runs a really good line, a very efficient in the car, and very good on resources, and really knows how to have a 20-minute mentality in this kind of race.
Absolutely. And I know yesterday he was doing a lot of watching laps, a lot of during practice, just constantly watching what everyone was doing, asking questions. So a driver that definitely tries to do as much research as possible. But it looks like Schofield has the toe. So will he be able to make the move? Will he make the aggressive move? Dylan holding the inside, but Schofield going to have the better line coming up through this up-hander. But hopefully he's watched the stream and watched what happened to Brian, so he doesn't do anything a little too crazy.
Yeah.
looks like he's watched the stream.
Oh yeah, he paid attention to the last instructor tried to do that with Murcott and saw how it turned out.
Yeah, let's see. Maybe can Lynn Wilson possibly capitalize on a little bit of the aggression of Joseph Schofield in the draft?
He's definitely waiting on something to happen up there to take advantage of, right?
Absolutely. And Lynn Wilson yesterday was putting on a show. I think one of the fastest drivers on track, period. I mean, wiping my time. It was way too quick. I couldn't get anywhere near it. So I know that Lynn Wilson has the pace to be at the top of this leaderboard, but probably just trying to play the long game as it's such a long track. And, just in case, not to put the commentator's curse, but Dylan and Joseph get into a little bit of a scrap, going to take advantage of that.
Sure. Yeah, Lynn Wilson will be right there to take advantage. And stop me if you've heard this one before, Dimitro, but Zach Ehrlich having pulled almost 6 seconds on second place right now. Ehrlich on top, McAuliffe in second, and this guy right here in the monster McLaren. Look at Joe Schofield. I believe maybe Dylan just gave him a look there just for fun. Let's see what happens. Schofield showing pace I did not expect. Let's see what Murcott can do with that. That is a very interesting pass there.
Yeah, I thought that Joseph was maybe a little late on the brakes and not going to make it, but just about hooked it. Didn't make the apex, but cleared Dylan clear. Looks like Dylan now just trying to get in Joseph's mirrors. Not sure what happened with Dylan there, but, I mean, great move from Joseph.
It was a great move by Joe Schofield. I am shocked that Murcott let that happen. But I think, man, we still got more than 11 minutes to go in this race. This is going to be an interesting battle for the remainder of this race.
Absolutely. I mean, this is for P3. So, oh, Dylan with an issue. Looks like a little bit of a snap oversteer and went straight into the barrier.
Oh, a little strong, a little early to throttle, and that torque of that McLaren really reared its head at the wrong time for Murcott there and brought the rear end around.
Yeah, that was super unlucky by Dylan Murcott. Just, I think, probably a little too aggressive on throttle and just,
yeah,
that was it.
Was it unlucky, or was Murcott just a little too aggressive on the throttle?
No, let's take a look. Let's see if we could possibly take a look at that incident. Yeah, I mean, it just probably a little too early on the throttle and just left, right, smacks into it. And Lynn Wilson able to cleanly drive by, probably what Lynn was waiting for, and able to capitalize on that.
Exactly what Lynn was waiting for.
So as we can see, Joseph starting to put a little bit of a gap on Lynn Wilson. Not sure how long it's going to last. I got a lot of trust in Lynn's ability to really move that car. And it looks like Trent Walco and Josh Green were able to capitalize that. They're closing down.
Well, they got their repairs done, and they're back in the fight. Walco and Green have been hooked up early. We saw those two running nose to tail in Watkins Glen for race 1 of this Esport Sim Challenge for Monticello Motor Club. So Green and Walco really know how to work the traffic. They know how to work the arrow to each other's mutual benefit. It is a match made in heaven there, as you see Walco closing the gap on Murcott.
Yeah,
I
and
think Murcott's got some damage that's really
oh,
hurting his
for
car.
sure. I mean, I can only imagine with how hard he hit that wall. There's no way he didn't acquire a decent bit of damage that's going to be affecting his lap. Trenton is a very calculated driver, so not going to make any too crazy moves that will affect his race and put him in the wall by chance, which is a little bit of a dichotomy from Dylan's style of driving, able to make that really clean pass.
Sure. Yeah, so Walco's through, and Josh Green is coming up next to close in on the monster McLaren. We'll see how long it takes Josh Green to get around Murcott,
Yeah, and
but Walco is through clean.
yeah, and Trent has the second fastest lap of the race right now. Zach Ehrlich in P1 and that clean air is just firing off. I mean, at this point, he's probably reading a book. I can only imagine.
Yeah, he's making a little panini up there. He's doing,
truly.
doing some mahjong inside the car. Maybe I don't know. He's unconcerned right now. I can tell you that.
I mean, must be taking a lot of inspiration from from Formula One Max Verstappen, because that lead just keeps increasing lap by lap. Wow, what coming across the line. Just take a look at some of the drivers' laps. Trent still just putting in strong lap after lap here. Almost, yeah, full second faster than Lynn Wilson. So it'll be a matter of time to when Trent hunts down Lynn.
Yeah, it's going to be about 2 more laps. It will not be that long, and we've got 8 minutes to go, so there's plenty of time. About 4 laps left in this race, and Trent Walco's only going to need 2 to get to Lynn Wilson, I think.
Yeah, looking a little further down the field, George Polis seems as though had a bit of an incident here in the back. Let's take a look at what happened here. Coming up through the left-hander. Ooh, a little light on the front end into the wall there. A super unfortunate incident. Yeah, I mean, that's one of those corners that you got to line it up perfect and make sure it's all good, or else, man, you're going to get unlucky.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It's a pretty easy to mistake there, pretty easy mistake to make. A little lift there. You start to realize that you're wide. Lift, you lighten the rear, and before you know it, it's coming around, and you're pointed the wrong way. Tough break for George Polos.
Yeah. Heading back up to the front of, oh, look at that. Trent has tracked down Lynn within 2 tenths.
2/10 of a second now. He's got Lynn. Now, I'll tell you, Lynn Wilson is an accomplished road racer. He's been in the 24 Hours of Daytona. He is not going to be shook by the pressure in his mirrors, but Trent also is just not going to let up.
Oh my God, that is a big incident.
No!
Oh, no, 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 no. That is not good.
I can't believe it. Lynn Wilson collects Trent Walco, and in the wall they go. Second. Oh, just 2 tough breaks for Trent Walco tonight.
I'm in shock.
Tough break for Walco.
I'm in shock. That was a big, big, big shunt for Trent Walco.
I really didn't expect that out of either of those guys, to be honest with you. That is not the kind of thing you see either of those drivers do routinely.
That was big.
Dylan Murcott really lucky.
Let's see if we can just track this perfectly and stop the clip. Yeah, I think what may have happened there is, let's take a look at the chopper view. Maybe just Lynn came across Trent and Trent wasn't expecting it. That is just such a
I think Trent had the pace. I think Lynn did not realize maybe Lynn's going for a block and it was late.
Oh,
Trent was already in there.
That is no fun for Trent Walco.
Oh, gosh.
Oh.
Trent's sitting in the pits now, no doubt banging the steering wheel. And here's Josh Green finally closing the gap.
Ooh, a little over-under.
Yeah. Look at that.
Oh.
Look at that. A little bump out of Jay Green there, trying to put pressure real pressure on Dylan Murcott.
I mean, I can only imagine if you're Dylan right now, you got damage on the car, you know, the car's not running 100%, and you have an actual GT4 driver behind you, you know. I know Dylan, as I said,
Dylan
is
Murcott is a fighter, though. This is
yeah.
why Dylan Murcott does this. He
Oh, for
wants
sure.
this kind of action right here.
And as I said before, for Dylan, he's super competitive when it comes to the series, and right now he's the top of the instructors leaderboard. And let's put it this way, he makes sure that everyone knows it. So I can imagine that he's really putting in these aggressive moves to make sure that Josh doesn't get ahead of him. You know, with 2 races left in the series, he wants to make sure in the season he wants to make sure that he's at the top of the podium. And I know going into this, Trent was that biggest threat. And with Trent being out of the race, I mean, Dylan's got a little bit of time to relax, but he still wants to keep Josh behind him.
He absolutely does. As you said, he's the first guy to post the instructor results after every race because he likes those results. There's no way he's going to go gentle into that good night for Josh Green's benefit. But I still think Green should be able to get around him before this race is over.
Oh, yeah, I think there's no question about it. Really good exit for Josh Green there, able to tuck into the toe. As we said, that McLaren's got some crazy, crazy, crazy speed on the straights, but looks like the toe is just hit, so now he's within 5/10. Hopefully we can get ourselves a real good battle here.
Oh, I believe we're going to get it. We've got about 4 minutes to go, 3.5 minutes to go in this race. Let's see if this Mercedes can get around the McLaren. This is the closest gap on the track right now.
Let's take a look. Dylan Murcott, take a look at the gap here. I mean, that gap has just completely evaporated for Dylan Murcott. I mean, there's nothing he can do right now besides defend with all of his heart. And I think Josh is playing a calculated game, doesn't want to do anything too crazy. He knows that Dylan is a fighter and that he'll stop it on the apex to make sure that he rear ends him and things of that sort. So this is going to be a scene. This is going to be a spectacle, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you don't look away. Oh, look at it. I could see it. Dylan is overslowing all of these corners. Oh, man.
Yes.
It's a real test.
He is making Josh go to the brake.
Oh, man. Coming through.
And he is as wide as he can possibly be.
That is not where you want to be if you're fighting with Dylan Murcott, because he will drive you to the line even if you're there. This is too good.
Unafraid. All over him now.
Aggressive move. Will Dylan drive it off here?
Dylan
No, he
just
won't.
defending.
Oh,
Mert
my
getting a little
goodness.
wobble there.
This is jokes.
Crazy. Oh, man, I don't see any way these two cars finish this race. I just don't think it's going to happen.
There's no way.
Josh is trying everything. Josh has got the pace.
Oh, he's going to be on the outside here. Oh, he's keeping his nose in it.
Outside all day.
Oh, touching wheel to wheel. Josh's going to be inside here.
It's finally going to work. Josh is through.
Oh my goodness!
Excellent work there by Josh.
But
excellent patience.
Unfortunately, it is not over for Josh Green because Dylan Murcott is in his mirrors, only a 10th behind. And as soon as that draft hits, that McLaren is going to be firing off. Oh goodness! This is white flag. This is last lap.
Oh my gosh! Look at this race. Look at this race. Can Josh Green hold court?
Oh.
Murcott fighting.
Will
also,
Josh
right
let
behind
up?
you, Frank McLennan. Look at this. Oh, man. This is one of the best battles we've seen all season.
I'd agree. And as you can see, as you were saying before, Brian Hedian and Frank McLennan, we're going to keep a close eye on that just in case something happens
right
there as well.
Right behind these two is another two. Yeah, it's an instructor and a member getting after
it. Loose for Dylan Murcott. Is he going to make the corner? I don't think so.
He's not going to make it. He's
oh, my God.
Finally get some clear air.
Oh, Dylan. I mean, Josh can finally breathe. I'm going to be honest.
Back to let's check back on this Frank McLennan and Brian Hedian battle. Hedian holding McLennan off, but that yellow Porsche all up in the taillights of Brian Hedian.
Yeah, it looks like Frank McLennan is really putting in laps. Last lap, Frank McLennan was a full second faster than Brian, so Brian may be looking in his mirrors a lot right now. Not really sure. If we take a look at the breakdown of um, of the gap between them, no, it seemed relatively consistent. Looks like maybe last lap Brian had a little bit of an issue, and looks like McClanahan was able to capitalize on that.
I mean, McClendon is right there, man. Really closing it up. I
Yeah.
don't know if McClendon is going to be able to close enough to make a move here for the pass, but he's definitely got Brian's attention.
Oh, absolutely. Looks like Zach Ehrlich has finished the race, P1 by 10 seconds. What an amazing drive by him. Let's just make sure that Brian's able to defend well, but there is a possibility. Actually, I'll hold my voice. I'll hold it.
I know
Oh, a
Brian does
little
not need
deep.
the commentator's curse.
A little deep for Frank
Frank is
McClanahan.
all over it. Frank is running out of pavement, running out of real estate, but not running out of talent. Good job, Frank, for hanging on to that one as we come to the checkered flag.
What a great drive. Looks like, oh, look at that. A little bit of action for you guys.
And
Oh.
Schofield with the barrel roll.
Well, good. Taking a look
I
further
tell
back.
you, that race,
Yeah.
you might imagine at Road America, as long as it is and as big, as long as the straightaways are, that maybe the racing wouldn't be exciting, but you can always count on the members and instructors at Monticello Motor Club to make some excitement where maybe there wouldn't be any with a lesser group of individuals. But these drivers really got it done tonight.
Absolutely.
Great racing, guys.
No, that was a pleasure to watch, and I gotta say that battle in the last 2 laps, I was at the edge of my seat. That was probably the best battle we've had all season.
Yeah, McAuliffe, Green, race 2, heat 2, race 5. Great racing, fellas.
Phenomenal stuff. Not sure if we're gonna have any interviews tonight, but maybe we can bring some drivers in, ask them what they thought of the session and everything of that sort.
Ron Trinka, really, really beautiful race car there. Ron out there just turning some good laps and getting it done as he heads to take the checker. I tell you, we've got 2 races to go, guys. We're back in Mazda Miatas for Sebring. Is it Sebring? We got Miatas coming up? No.
Yep, that's correct. No, Sebring and the Miatas. Yep.
Sebring and the Miatas, and then the final race, the championship race at my home track, Road Atlanta. We're back to the GT4s for basically the Petit Le Mans of Monticello Motor Club. It'll be the season-ending finale. Catch all the action here on the stream. You guys can tune in anytime. If you're a member, make sure you come out to Monticello. We can't wait to see you guys at the club in real life. I love what we've done with this eSIM League, and I also am looking forward to seeing everybody in real life. The condos are finished, the track is waiting, and we are ready for a great season at Monticello Motor Club.
I am.
Demetrio, what else have you got for us tonight?
No, I completely agree. Actually, we're gonna have Josh Green come into here and give us a little interview. I mean, that was a phenomenal battle with Dylan Murcott. Josh, you're here in chat. Let's walk through that with us.
Yeah, it was a good little battle at the end. Unfortunately, at the start, I ended up with some damage after I tried to pull off and bring ourselves to the back. A little glitch with iRacing there, which is something new that I've never seen, where we all started from pit lane. Generally, obviously, starting from pit lane means you end up at least 10 to 15 seconds behind the entire pack, whereas here, on the pit limiter, I pitted out in the lead by about probably 4 or 5 seconds. So, had to deal with that.
It was
But yeah.
very exciting, Josh. It was very exciting. You guys basically attacked the race leader from like the right flank. It was an amazing looking start, I got to tell you.
Yep, and then we tried to pull off, right? Because in theory we're supposed to start from the back, so I moved over in turn 5. There's like a big runoff, big parking lot. So I pulled out over there and just got absolutely destroyed by some incident that was going on in turn 5. So it was about 50 degrees left hand down the whole race, which was exciting.
I think you're gonna love the playback on that one because we had the pleasure of watching that with the replays. We were having a time just dissecting all the incidents that happened on that lead lap, and yes, That was a big incident.
Josh, you were just sitting over there parked, and cranes got turned around and just backed into you at like 100 miles an hour. It was pretty exciting.
Yeah, and then that
Yeah,
yeah.
it felt exciting. I wasn't ready for it at all.
I bet you
So
weren't.
good. And then the race with Dylan, what was going through your mind there? That was intense.
Yeah, I mean, look, he was being aggressive with his defending, which is fair enough. I was lacking straight line speed with how much my steering wheel was not straight. So it was a lot of work to try and get to the lead. Luckily, in the end, he just dropped a tire in the dirt on the way into turn 5 on the last lap, and that gave me the gap I needed to sprint away.
Yeah, that was quite the spectacle. I mean, there was a lot of points where we could see Dylan was overslowing some of the corners, trying to back you up a little bit, keeping you on your toes. I mean, you must have been ready for anything. I mean, that was some great racing, Josh.
It is Dylan, after all. You always have to be ready for everything. But no, he did a very
He
good job
brought he
defending.
brought every he brought every card in his deck. I'm telling you, he brought every trick he had. It was really interesting and fun to watch. I got to tell you.
Yeah,
Absolutely. I love those battles.
for sure. And also, were you able to see Trent's crash by chance?
Well, not really. Obviously, I was quite far behind. I saw the two of them going side by side down the back straight, and they clipped. As far as I heard people talking about it, sounded like there may have been some amount of net code there, which tends to happen with iRacing.
Understood, understood. Cool. Well, thank you so much, Josh. Much appreciated.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, cheers. All right, Derek, I think that's all we got for tonight.
Guys, it was a great night of racing. We appreciate you guys coming out to watch the race. We've got another race in 2 weeks. Miata's at Sebring. Beware the bumps, the 17-turn monster in South Florida. Be sure to tune in and check out all the racing excitement in 2 weeks. And don't forget opening day in real life, Monticello on April 11th. We can't wait to see you at your club, the world's #1 automotive country club, Monticello Motorsports. This is Derek Leonard and Demetrio Crawford signing off from race number 5. Thanks for watching, everybody.